Meet the Torres, a fresh, affordable RAV4 rival from Korea. And yes, just Torres. There's no badge, there's no branding on the front, not even on the rear. But this brand is quick to point out, not Chinese. I reckon it looks pretty cool and certainly a whole lot more appealing than the Stavic people mover this company cursed us with in the noughties. Good Lord, that was a repulsive looking vehicle. Anyway, I'm going to take a closer look at this design. I'm going to crawl through the interior, test the technology and pummel the engine so you know exactly what to expect before you take the plunge with a purchase. Let's get into it. We're testing the mid-spec Torres Adventure midsize SUV here, which comes from Korean car maker KG Mobility, or KGM for short. Not that you'd know it. The company formerly known as SsangYong has gone through a rebranding process following lackluster performance under stewardship from its former owner, Indian car giant Mahindra. And while the rebranding isn't as dramatic as what we've seen from the likes of Jaguar, which I'm actually genuinely excited about, the new Torres looks like a good budget-priced SUV at a glance. It competes in the same mid-size SUV category as the Toyota RAV4, Subaru Forester and Mitsubishi Outlander, but is considerably more affordable than those three once you add on-road costs. Priced from $38,000 drive away for the entry-level model, this mid-spec Adventure is priced at $43,000 drive away, which puts it within striking range of several budget Chinese chariots like the Chery Tiggo Pro 7, the MG HS and the Haval H6. It's also got a competitive 7-year warranty, but ownership costs are far from class leading, with an annual service price of around $380 a pop. By comparison, Toyota charges about $260 per annual service for its RAV4. You do get 5 years complimentary roadside assist. That is a nice touch though. Let's talk about the design, and from where I stand, it makes quite a positive visual impact. It's got a chunky angular aesthetic that adds a bit of grittiness, and it does stand out from the crowd. I especially like these bold LED headlight clusters and the front end design in particular. And yes, they sort of steal a bit of design cues from maybe the Range Rover Evoque, but the LED signature is nice, and you've got LED fog lights too. Pretty schmick. Sure, there's some weird bits like the bend in the roof, imitation Jeep grille, and the handles on the bonnet, not to mention the pretend spare tyre holder on the boot. But generally speaking, I reckon it comes together nicely, and the LED tail lights are pretty schmick too. This one is finished in the fetching dandy blue exterior paint job, and these silver sections here are inspired by the Land Rover Defender and can be fitted with various accessories. You can choose steps, allowing easier access to the roof, or a small storage box, both of which add around $500 to the price. KGM is a 70-year-old company with a small but loyal legion of fans who swear by these vehicles as being robust and reliable, and judging on the doors, they sound pretty solid. That's a nice thud. It's pitched as an adventure machine and has decent ground clearance of 195mm and a wading depth of 300mm. But let's be real, taking it off-road might be more of an adventure than you bargained for. That's because this SUV is only front-wheel drive. You can get all-wheel drive in the top-spec version, but that adds another $4,000. However, all Torres SUVs do share the same 1.5-litre turbo-petrol engine across the range in Australia. And it's got modest power, but pretty reasonable torque for an engine of this displacement. I'll talk about the powertrain in more detail in the drive section, but it's a fairly zippy thing, although not super economical. Power is transferred to the front wheels via a conventional 6-speed automatic transmission, and you've also got paddle shifters behind the steering wheel for a little bit of extra control over the engine, which is a nice touch. If first impressions count, then the Torres is off to a good start. Attractive dual digital screens sit nicely on the dash, and the overall design and decor is fairly modern, and everything has a high quality look as well. dig a little deeper and you'll find lots of scratchy plastics. And while the copper accents add a bit more atmos, it feels cheap, especially around the teeny tiny gear shifter. The heated seats, however, are rather nice. This synthetic leather is actually pretty good for a car at this price point, although it does have a certain musk, a certain smell to it, which I'm sure will dissipate over time. It's just that sort of new car smell. The contouring on the seats too is actually quite good. It's quite form-fitting, although the cushions themselves are quite firm, and if you want power adjustability, you'll have to upgrade to the top spec Torres. There's matching copper stitching throughout the cabin, which adds a bit more razzle-dazzle, and the steering wheel has a premium feel, although adjustment for reach and rake is below average, and the wheel itself is huge. Storage solutions, they're pretty good. You've got this huge area under here. It's more like something out of an EV. You can put all sorts of stuff down there. And I like the overall layout too. You've got a little slot here. You can put your phone there. You've got two medium-sized cup holders. I can get my 750ml bottle in there. No dramas, spring-loaded. And the central bin as well. This is cool. You can slot stuff in there without having to open it up. And it's reasonably sized. There is also a little slot here for stuff. The door pockets are actually multifaceted and very good. It fits my 1 litre Mega Gulp with a bit of a push, not too bad. But there is no wireless phone charger in this model and no sunglasses holder. Twin 12.3-inch digital screens are standard on all Torres model grades, which is super impressive. And the visual clarity and touch response rates are fairly good, but not brilliant. There's 2 slide-out panels, one for major car functions like auto hold, parking sensors, and the other for climate controls, and they're both sensibly laid out. However, to be honest, I wish the climate controls had better shortcuts or physical controls for that matter. Call me old school. The main menu system looks basic with a screen beans vibe, and it's not intuitive. If a Tesla UI engineer sat down with this system, they would have a panic attack. It's an opportunity missed because making these screens look pretty and making them easy to use shouldn't be that hard. To my understanding, it's all software based. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are a saving grace. They look good and will be the default operating system for many owners, but are only wired and not wireless in this case. There's no GPS sat-nav nor a head-up display, which is a shame. And while it misses out on a few features, it still has a fairly solid infotainment array. The same issues that affect the central screen are also found on the digital driver's display. So while you get this really nice 12.3-inch digital display, it's got sharp graphics and reasonable refresh rate, customizability and trip computing are weak. Maybe it's something that the over-the-air updates can fix, but I kind of doubt it. The reversing camera has excellent clarity, but it's angled too close to the ground, so you can't really see into the distance. There's also no 360-degree overview camera, which for a family SUV is disappointing, but you do have front and rear parking sensors. There's no ANCAP safety rating yet, but the safety suite includes 8 airbags and all the expected ADAS or advanced driver assistance systems, like lane keep assist, which is actually fairly well calibrated. It has autonomous emergency braking, but it only detects cars. More modern systems can auto brake for people and cyclists. The dated safety systems and technology are emblematic of this car's age. The Torres was released overseas in 2022, and the underlying platform architecture hasn't changed since 2019. Okay, back seats, and this is impressive. I have a lot of room in almost every dimension, except maybe for width. Putting 3 adults across here might be a little bit squeezy, but headroom, excellent. This is a very tall roof. Feels nice and spacious. Legroom is phenomenal. That driver's seat is in my driving position. Yes, I do sit fairly close to the steering wheel. You can check out my video on the correct driving position to see why. But I still have incredible amounts of legroom. I'm 183 centimeters, 6 foot tall, and this is very, very good. If you're looking for an affordable, roomy mid-size SUV, this one will not disappoint. Seat comfort, really good too. Headrests are nice. This is lovely. And amenity is pretty impressive as well. Twin USB-C ports for fast charging, nice. You've got dual adjustable air vents, good. Some good storage options too. A couple of cubbies here Seat back pockets in both seats and really good door pockets again, but showing its age, these reading lights are not LED. That's a bit of a bummer. You've got the grab handles with hooks, and I like the fact that the windows go all the way down. There's no auto up or down. You do get those on both front windows, and there's also no anti-pinch. This is gonna hurt. Ah! Oh! Oh, why did I do that? Last but not least is the fold-out armrest with cup holders, along with twin ISOFIX and triple top tether child seat anchorages. The power-operated tailgate reveals a fairly large cargo cavity. This is a good sized boot, and I like these two side pockets here with elastic bands. It's handy for securing bottles and the like. Amenity ain't great though. You do get a 12-volt socket and this robust cargo blind, but that's about it. There's no bag hooks, there's no tie-down anchorages. There is a space saver spare under here, blue, very nice. And the 60/40 split folding rear seats fold almost flat. So it's well equipped. It comes with all the features you'd expect, and it's pretty roomy inside, but there's a sense that some elements are a little bit vintage, a little bit dated. So the question is, how does it drive? The KGM website boldly proclaims that this vehicle, the Torres, delivers an unparalleled driving experience. Now, I reckon the Kia Sportage might have something to say about that, but in all honesty, this vehicle drives a lot better than anticipated. The 1.5 litre turbo-petrol engine is pretty zesty and generates sufficient urge, especially in sport mode. Criticisms? Throttle response feels a little touchy at first, and while the 6-speed auto from Japanese supplier Aisin is smooth, it's not very smart and sometimes must hunt for the right gear. And although the Torres looks adventurous and it's pretty good on gravel roads, its true calling is the concrete jungle. It feels right at home in the suburbs, and it's a dependable Korean cruiser that works well in the daily grind. That said, the cruise control is not adaptive and doesn't work under 40 kilometers an hour, which in speed camera land here in Victoria can be very, very frustrating. Ride comfort is best described as firm at urban speeds, and sharp bumps and lumps are felt within the cabin. Rear seat passengers will feel the hits even more due to the stiff rear suspension. What's really interesting is how it feels on the highway and on flowing country roads, because the experience becomes more settled and more compliant. Indeed, it even tracks through corners with a dash of enthusiasm, like it's actually trying. And that firmer suspension benefits body control, and this SUV drives a lot better than expected. When it comes to fuel efficiency, the Torres is okay. Its small turbo engine missing the manufacturer's claim by a reasonable but not alarming margin. Visibility is pretty good front and side, but the rear pillars are bigger than the plot holes in a B-grade sci-fi movie, and that gives you very large blind spots, so head checking is almost pointless. It does have a blind spot monitor though, which is handy. A couple of other little issues include the indicators on the wrong side. I've done that a few times with the wipers, and the engine stop-start system is sometimes slow to react, and when it does restart the engine, it can be a little bit abrupt. Driving the Torres is neither brilliant nor terrible. It's a budget SUV that delivers a satisfying but firm driving experience. There's a lot to like beyond just how this car drives as well. It's got plenty of space for passengers and cargo, that exterior design is pleasantly unorthodox, and a 7-year warranty is impressive. This is a solid pick for a budget SUV, but some of the rapidly rising Chinese brands are undercutting it like a Boxing Day sale. In the end, the KGM SsangYong Torres gets a passing grade. Good enough to show your parents, but not quite gold star material.